Mes CHamoru Masterclass series is brought to you by Ulu Hentu.
Hafide Zentiro Guahusi Moneka De Oro. I am gonna be making for today's masterclass a Ulu Hentu or a marmar, and I'm excited to get that started. Today we're gonna be making an Ulu Hentu in Chamorro that is a crown for your head, and it's gonna be made out of flowers. It's also used throughout the rest of the Pacific as a connection for people to connect to the land and connect to ancestry and just to beautify themselves with things found in nature. And it's also known as muer or marmar from our Carolinian brothers and sisters, or haku in Hawaiian. Throughout the Pacific, people have used flower crowns to adorn themselves and to represent themselves and their cultures and their connections to the lands and their ancestors. In order to make an Ulu Hentu or marmar muerma, you're going to need some softened tea leaf, which I just picked some tea leaf and threw it in the freezer, but there's multiple ways to soften your tea leaf. Or I could also make it out of a recycled version out of biodegradable plastic bags, which in case I don't have enough tea leaf, I'll be using some plastic bags, which are biodegradable. And we also picked some beautiful flowers here on location at We picked some puti tainabu or bougainvillea, which is found all throughout the island, and some beautiful variegated greenery that was also here, and some plumeria flowers. And aside from your flowers, which you're going to be using, you also need scissors and a nice handy basket to collect everything in. So after you have your flowers softened, and these are not very good anymore, as you can see, the quality is kind of wretched. But you've split them. And cut off the stems, the hard part. You could also soften your leaves by boiling them and adding a little bit of oil, like baby oil or coconut oil, into the boil, because it does make your hands kind of sticky. And we're just going to use 3 pieces, and we're going to tie them together and create a braid. And then we're going to add extensions with the plastic bag, and I'll show you how to prep that as well. So you tie a knot so that you have 3 pieces. Uno, dos, tres, hata, tulu. And you want to leave all your scraps to the side and make sure you compost them. And then you can either do it completely with tea leaf or completely with plastic bag, but we're going to be mixing it up and doing it with both today because that's what we got. So I'm going to go ahead with this plastic bag and cut off the handles. Do a nice little cut. Put that to the side, and then cut off the bottom. And you're going to cut 3 pieces. Doesn't have to be the exact same width, but around the same. People also use a variety of things to make the Ulu Hentu. Lots of people use the packing strap from like spare ribs, packaging, and ribbon. There's more than one way to do this. So I'd suggest finding the way that you're most comfortable with and doing it that way. I like to make mine as green as possible, so I try not to use as much plastic, but if I do use plastic, it's because I'm in a pinch, because it does take a while to get your to pick tea leaf and prep it. It takes about an hour just to do that part, and you didn't see that part on camera. So I have my 3 pieces again, uno, dos, tres, and I'm going just to add it because this isn't long enough to wrap the head. It's just going to be extensions to each piece of the braid. So I'm going to take each piece and tie it to one. Nice and tight, do a double knot. I've never mixed mediums before, but we'll see how this turns out. But I'm sure it will work out. So there you have it. You have your 3 pieces. And if it's too long, you're gonna be braiding it so it does get shorter. If it's too long, we'll just trim it at the end. And then we are going to kind of sort out our flowers and decide what the pattern is that we want to use. So we have these beautiful bougainvilleas and pink plumerias. And we have different shades of these bougainvilleas as well. When I do this, it's kind of like I get into a meditative state. From the beginning to the end, it's very calming and relaxing for me. So one of the things that I always like to remind people when I'm teaching them is just don't be mad and just enjoy the process. And these flowers are already beautiful unto themselves, so there's not much work you have to do to make it even more beautiful. So you begin by just kind of assessing what you have. There's varieties of colors of the bougainvillea, and bougainvillea I really love to put because it makes it really nice and fluffy, and it adds a lot of thickness to a muer. And also it's really just important to be mindful when you're picking this because they are really thorny, so you could get pricked with the thorns. And bougainvillea is the national flower of Guam, but they're imported, or they're an introduced species. But they remind us that even though they're so beautiful, like love, it can hurt sometimes because of the thorns. And Putitanabu in Chamorro means you're sad because you don't have a boyfriend and you lost your lover. So it's just about that risk of love. And then plumerias are just so happy and so beautiful, and it's marked to be a friendship flower. So what you're gonna do to get started, basically if you know how to braid, it's not that much harder than braiding. You are just going to braid a few rungs of the crown. Try not to get it twisted. Then you're going to open up the leaf, and you're going to take some of your first flower. I think I will use some Putitanabu, and you're going to pinch it into the leaf, just like that. And then with the next rung, you're going to secure it. And then do it again. This one's kind of pulley, so it's kind of hard, but take a little bit of your Putitanabu pocket, and then bring another one over. And then I think I want to add some of this beautiful green, and you do the same thing where you just add it. When I'm picking the flowers, I always like to ask permission, and the greens too. I ask permission of the plant itself, and then always say thank you. I think that's a big part of the cultural aspect of Chamorro people. When we pick, when picking medicines or harvesting any fruit, we always show gratitude to the plants. Get in. Two plumerias. Then you're just going to keep adding and securing it. You just open up the leaf. I'm kind of like propping it open with my finger and then pinching it and holding it in between the open leaf, and you'll do the same thing when it's the bag, and then you just secure it with the next rung. You can do every rung if you want it to be really thick. This one's going to be a pretty thin one. Add another bit of this. Secure. Over. Spring stuff. Once it gets kind of long, you're going to use your toes, but it's still pretty good. And then you see you're just braiding it, and there's no leaves coming out from the back side because you're securing it within the leaf. I would suggest using these types of flowers. You can use any type of flowers, but things like hibiscus closes up at night, and lots of other flowers just kind of wilt really quickly. So you just want to know the quality of the flower that you're using and kind of be familiar with that when choosing the types of flowers. Orchids are also really great because they're pretty durable. But things like hibiscus and some of the other flowers that we see around just don't last that long, or they wilt really quickly. So it's important to choose flowers that have a lot of life. You also want to do this event on the ground and sitting. It's easier this way. It also is a grounding sort of event, practice. I imagine when, and even today when people do this, they make it for events like graduations or weddings. That it's such a beautiful way to commune with your family and with relatives. Just all getting together and doing the whole process is a really beautiful way to bond and to connect, not only with the flowers and the land, but with each other. So now we're going to be getting into the stage where it transitions to the plastic, and we'll see how this works out. So you do the same, treat the plastic the same as you treat the, and I'm also folding in some of the green. Same as you with the leaf. It has a nice little pattern. Just gonna lock it in my foot. And if you're doing this for your very first time, just be patient. It does take a lot of practice. My first few times, the flowers fell out. It was just really ugly. And it took a long time for me to just get better and better. But once you do, it just becomes more and more fun. And now you have a skill that you can use to sort of chinchuli your family when they have any special occasions, or you can do it as a business too, because people are always looking for people to make marmars for their special occasions. Also, it's just a nice way to pass the time. We have all these flowers that we're so lucky to have all of these different flowers that grow here 24/7, 365 days out of the year. So it's just a nice thing to do, even if it's not a special occasion. But Mother's Days, graduations, baby showers, there's always a reason. And then again, it just connects us to our Pacifica family, because this is something that is done in cultures across the ocean. And even if we haven't done this as Chamorro people in our recent history, there has been archival references by different visitors indicating that Chamorro women especially did use flowers in their hair in crowns to adorn themselves. I think Fray Juan Pobre wrote that in his account of his visit, and he was one of the earliest visitors to our islands. So, even though it might have been something that was lost in our traditions, it doesn't mean that we didn't have our own flower adornment tradition. Done. Measure it, see if it goes around this little hat, and it's kind of perfect. So to end it, oh, I need a little bit more. If you're zooming in on my feet, I'm so self-conscious of it. Okay, I think we are good to go. braid so I could tie it to the other side and trim it. Then twist it to make a little knot. Cut it. And then tie the sides together. Sorry. Make it nice and tight. Oh. Or I can do it without it. And there you got it. You have a nice little warmer. Again, thank you so much for joining me in this little class on how to make a Ulu Hentu or a marmar. So I hope you try to make this at home on your own. If you have any questions or comments, please put it in the video link below, and we'll be looking it out. Tag us at KUAM if you do.